Ladies and gentlemen, let me begin by telling you this. Real wealth does not begin in your wallet. It begins in your mind. Long before a man or woman touches a dollar, long before a single opportunity appears at the door, the seed of wealth is planted deep within the fertile soil of thought. Thoughts, when mixed with faith, purpose, and persistence, become unstoppable forces. If you desire real wealth, you must train your mind to think in terms of abundance, not just of money, but of time, freedom, health, and personal power. These are the riches that cannot be stolen, taxed, or diminished by circumstance. Most people chase money. They run after it with desperation in their eyes, believing that income alone will free them. But real wealth, the kind that grows roots and sustains generations, does not come to the desperate. It comes to the disciplined, to those who are willing to delay gratification, to labor in silence, to persist in darkness until the dawn reveals the harvest of their faith. You must define your purpose, not a wish, not a vague idea, a clear, definite purpose backed by a burning desire. Without it, effort is wasted, energy is scattered, and wealth remains elusive. But with it, all the power of the universe begins to conspire in your favor. Remember, wealth gravitates to those who solve problems, to those who improve the world with their services, uplift others with their work, and offer value with excellence. If you are not increasing your ability to serve, you are decreasing your ability to earn. The marketplace is not sentimental. It rewards results, not excuses. Every man and woman who has ever built lasting wealth did so by learning how to master themselves. They conquered fear, silenced doubt, and moved forward when others hesitated. They understood that every dollar earned honestly is a reward for rendered service, and they knew that wealth is not measured by how much you keep, but by how much you can create, control, and contribute. So I urge you, do not envy wealth, study it. Do not wish for ease, develop strength. Build habits that align with the vision of the life you desire. Guard your time, expand your mind, and invest your energy where it multiplies, not where it disappears. Ladies and gentlemen, the world is rich with opportunity, but it only reveals its treasures to those who are rich in thought, rich in purpose, and rich in faith. Focus not on chasing wealth, but on becoming the kind of person to whom wealth is drawn. And that is how you build real wealth. Real wealth is not just money. It is the harmonious integration of purpose, peace of mind, health, and financial freedom. To understand what true wealth is, we must first strip away the illusions society often wraps around the idea of success. Money is a tool, not a treasure. It is a resource, not the reward itself. Real wealth is deeper, quieter, and far more powerful. It is not counted merely in numbers, but felt in the freedom to live with intention, the calm assurance of stability, and the inner satisfaction that one's life is aligned with their purpose. Let us begin with purpose, the invisible foundation of all real wealth. A life without purpose may accumulate money, but it will never feel rich. Purpose gives direction to our days and meaning to our efforts. It transforms labor into legacy. When a man or woman discovers their purpose and commits to living by it, they unlock a power that money alone could never provide. Purpose is what makes sacrifice worthwhile, what gives rise to passion, and what sustains energy even when the path is hard. It is purpose that keeps a person moving forward when rewards are distant and recognition is absent. Without purpose, wealth becomes empty. It may fill homes with luxury and accounts with figures, but it cannot fill the void of a misaligned life. Many people work for decades to accumulate financial gains, only to discover they have built a life they do not love, in pursuit of goals they did not choose, serving a cause they do not believe in. That is not wealth. That is bondage dressed in gold. Real wealth begins with asking yourself, why do I do what I do? Who do I serve? What kind of impact do I want to make? If you do not know your why, then no amount of money will bring fulfillment. Peace of mind is another pillar of real wealth. You may own all the symbols of success, but if your nights are restless, your thoughts chaotic, and your heart heavy, then you are not truly wealthy. Peace of mind cannot be purchased, only earned. It is the byproduct of living with integrity, making decisions aligned with your values, and refusing to compromise your soul for gain. Many lose their peace in the race for wealth. They trade calm for chaos, joy for pressure, relationships for status. But in doing so, they sacrifice the very thing that wealth was meant to secure: freedom from worry, anxiety, and fear. A person who lives within their means, with honesty and clarity, even if they possess little money, may sleep with a peace unknown to millionaires plagued by guilt, greed, or deceit. Peace of mind is found in simplicity, in knowing that you have enough, and that you are enough. It is found in contentment, not complacency, but the inner equilibrium that says, I am on the right path, and I trust the journey. When your mind is clear and your heart is light, every day feels rich, regardless of your bank account. Health is perhaps the most overlooked component of real wealth. No fortune is more valuable than vitality. The strongest empire crumbles when its leader is weak. The wealthiest person becomes poor the moment they lose the ability to enjoy their life. Health is the foundation upon which all achievements rest. It grants the energy to work, the strength to pursue dreams, and the longevity to enjoy the fruits of labor. Many chase financial gains at the expense of their health, sacrificing sleep, ignoring stress, abusing their bodies with poor habits, and justifying it as a necessary part of success. But what good is wealth if you are too sick to spend it? What joy is there in achievement if your body is a prison rather than a vehicle of freedom? Real wealth includes nourishing your body with care, respecting your limits, and understanding that rest is not weakness, it is wisdom. A strong body supports a strong mind. When you prioritize your health, you gain time, clarity, and energy, all of which are essential ingredients in building lasting wealth. The truly wealthy understand that health is not a distraction from success, but its very cornerstone. Financial freedom is the fourth pillar, and it is what most people chase without realizing it is only one piece of a much larger puzzle. Financial freedom does not mean extravagance or excess. It means the power to choose. To choose how you spend your time, whom you spend it with, and what you do with your life. It is not about how much you make, but how much control you have over your life. A person with modest income but no debt, no dependency, and full ownership of their time is often wealthier than someone with a high salary but constant obligations and pressure. Money should serve you, not the other way around. When you build financial freedom, you are no longer a servant to necessity. You are free to create, to explore, to invest in yourself and others. It provides security in times of uncertainty and options in times of transition. But financial freedom is earned through discipline, planning, and sacrifice. It requires that you live today in a way that your future self will thank you for. It means saying no to impulse so you can say yes to opportunity. It means working not just for income, but for independence. When all four elements, purpose, peace of mind, health, and financial freedom, come together, what you experience is real wealth. It is not just a lifestyle, but a way of being. It is a state where your outer world reflects your inner values, and your life becomes a reflection of conscious choices rather than reactionary impulses. Real wealth is holistic. It respects both the visible and invisible. It grows not just in size, but in depth. It is not about having more things. It is about having more meaning. Real wealth allows you to give without fear, to dream without limits, and to love without condition. It empowers you to leave a legacy not just of possessions but of principles. It is the quiet confidence of knowing that you are building something greater than yourself, that your life is contributing, not just consuming. In a world that often confuses luxury with success, noise with knowledge, and fame with impact, it is critical to return to the true definition of wealth. We must redefine success not by accumulation, but by alignment. Ask yourself, are you building a life that feels rich to you, or one that only looks rich to others? Are you chasing money while your purpose is starving? Are you sacrificing your peace for praise, your health for hustle, your future for fleeting pleasure? If so, then you are not on the path to real wealth. But the beautiful truth is this: you can choose again. You can rebuild your foundation. You can realign your life. It is never too late to shift your focus from surface success to deep, sustainable, and fulfilling wealth. The pursuit of real wealth is not always glamorous. It often involves quiet mornings, hard decisions, consistent habits, and unseen victories. But it is in those moments, those private acts of courage and discipline, that true wealth is born. It is built in the shadows long before it is revealed in the light. And when it finally appears, it does not shout. It speaks softly through the peace in your heart, the strength in your body, the clarity in your mind, and the joy in your spirit. Real wealth is the ultimate freedom, the freedom to live fully, love deeply, serve greatly, and rest peacefully. It is not something you find, it is something you build. True riches begin in the mind. Your thoughts are the architects of your fortune. Every structure that has ever stood began as a blueprint. Every invention that transformed the world started as an idea. Every empire, every breakthrough, every measure of wealth first took shape in the invisible realm of thought before it could ever be touched in the material world. The human mind, when directed with intention and belief, becomes the most powerful tool for wealth creation known to man. You cannot attract abundance with a mind rooted in scarcity. You cannot experience prosperity if your dominant thoughts are filled with fear, doubt, and limitation. The universe does not respond to what you want. It responds to what you believe, and belief is shaped by thought. If you think poverty, you invite poverty. If you dwell on failure, you multiply failure. But if you saturate your consciousness with ideas of success, value, service, and faith, you begin to mold your external world in the image of those thoughts. The process is invisible, but its results are undeniable. The mind is not a passive observer. It is a creative force. It organizes, attracts, and directs your actions, your focus, and ultimately your results. What you allow to dominate your thoughts will eventually dominate your life. Wealthy minds build wealthy realities. They see possibilities where others see problems. They imagine opportunity in the face of adversity. They do not wait for conditions to change. They change themselves, and by doing so, they change their conditions. This is not a matter of superstition, but of cause and effect. Every action begins with a thought. Every word spoken, every risk taken, every investment made, is preceded by a moment of mental conception. The individual who learns to govern his or her thoughts becomes the master of their destiny. They stop reacting to life and begin creating it. They no longer beg for wealth. They command it through focus, clarity, and belief. The power of thought is such that even a person with no money, no connections, no formal education, can rise to the top if they harness the right thoughts. History is filled with such examples. People who had nothing but an idea, a vision, a belief, and through persistence and faith, turned it into an undeniable reality. That power lies dormant in every one of us. It is not reserved for the lucky or the gifted. It is available to those who dare to believe in its truth and discipline themselves to use it. But the mind, like any tool, must be trained. Left undisciplined, it can become your greatest enemy. It will replay old failures, amplify fear, and paralyze you with indecision. The undirected mind believes its thoughts are facts. It accepts limitation without challenge. It surrenders to the opinions of others, the influence of media, and the habits of the masses. But the trained mind filters thought like a gatekeeper. It questions every belief. Is this thought serving me? Is it building my vision or breaking it? Is it rooted in truth or fear? The man who learns to control his inner conversation will control his outer results. Talk to yourself and do it with purpose. Speak life into your goals. Affirm your ability. Envision the life you desire until your mind begins to accept it as reality. The subconscious mind does not know the difference between what is real and what is vividly imagined. Repetition is the key. Thoughts repeated with emotion and consistency become beliefs. Beliefs shape behavior. Behavior creates results. Your dominant thoughts become the foundation of your habits. If you think like a person of value, you will act like one. If you think like a leader, you will behave like one. If you think like a builder of wealth, you will make decisions that align with that identity. You will spend differently, save differently, invest differently, and work differently, not because someone told you to, but because your mind now demands it. This is why it is so important to protect the environment of your mind. The thoughts you entertain are influenced by the people you associate with, the content you consume, the conversations you engage in, and the beliefs you inherited but never questioned. If you desire wealth, surround yourself with wealth-conscious individuals. Read what they read, think how they think, expose your mind to a new standard, and it will begin to adapt. Just as the body adapts to pressure in the gym, the mind adapts to the pressure of higher thinking. Do not take thought lightly. A single idea has the power to change your entire life, but most people ignore ideas. They let them pass like clouds, distracted by trivialities and noise. The wealthy mind, however, seizes ideas, writes them down, nurtures them, tests them, and acts on them. That is the difference. It is not brilliance, it is attention. A mind that pays attention to opportunity will always be wealthier than one that is constantly distracted. Another truth to understand is that thought must be backed by faith. Thought without belief is like planting a seed and never watering it. You must believe that what you imagine is possible for you, not in theory, but in your own experience. If you think wealth is for others, not for you, then your thoughts are poisoned by doubt. The mind must be saturated with conviction. You must see yourself as worthy, capable, and destined for success. You must hold this vision even when your current reality contradicts it. Persistence in thought is what reshapes the mind. Every time you choose to think powerfully in the face of weakness, every time you choose faith over fear, you are rewiring your mental circuitry. You are creating a new default. Over time, this becomes your identity. And identity is the engine of action. You will not act beyond what you believe yourself to be. Change your self-concept, and your behavior will follow. The wealthy understand this. They invest in their minds before they invest in the market. They build a mindset of resilience, abundance, and confidence. They study, they visualize, they affirm, and they act. They know that the greatest returns are not from stocks or property, but from the expansion of thought. Because when your mind becomes rich, wealth in the material world becomes inevitable. It must manifest, for the outer world is merely a reflection of the inner. If your thoughts are small, your results will be small. If your thoughts are fearful, your life will shrink. But if your thoughts are elevated, disciplined, and focused, your life will rise to meet them. You must think like the person you intend to become. You must think from the future you desire, not just about it. Walk, speak, and decide from the level of your vision, not your current circumstances. Your circumstances are temporary. Your thoughts are eternal. They transcend time, space, and limitation. What you think today determines what you build tomorrow. The question is not whether your thoughts are creating your reality. The question is whether you are aware of what you're creating. When you take ownership of your mind, you take ownership of your future. Every fortune begins with a thought. Protected, nurtured, and acted upon with faith, it is not luck, it is not fate. It is the natural law of cause and effect, and thought is the first cause. All riches, all advancement, all progress begins in the invisible realm of imagination and belief. Master your thoughts, and you master your destination. Discipline, persistence, and definite purpose are cornerstones of wealth creation. Without them, talent is wasted, dreams dissolve, and potential lies buried beneath the rubble of excuses. The path to true wealth is not lined with comfort and ease. It demands a certain kind of mental toughness, a steadfastness of spirit, and a clarity of vision that refuses to yield under pressure. Wealth is not merely about how hard you work. It is about how consistently you move in the direction of your purpose, regardless of difficulty, distraction, or delay. Discipline is the gateway. It is the ability to command oneself, to act in accordance with a higher vision rather than a fleeting mood. The disciplined individual does not need external motivation, for their inner standard compels them to rise each day and act with intention. Discipline is not punishment, it is freedom. It is the ability to say no to what is convenient so you can say yes to what is essential. It allows you to build habits that compound over time, transforming small daily actions into massive long-term outcomes. Without discipline, even the most gifted minds remain stagnant. Ideas alone are worthless without the discipline to execute. Planning without action is procrastination in disguise. The disciplined person moves whether or not they feel like it. They have trained their emotions to serve their mission, not to sabotage it. This kind of self-mastery is rare, which is why wealth is rare. It is not a lack of opportunity, it is a lack of follow-through. The disciplined understand that wealth is not created in moments of inspiration, but in moments of repetition. It is forged in the grind, in the rituals, in the hours no one applauds. Alongside discipline must walk persistence. Persistence is the ability to keep going when the results are not immediate, when the praise is absent, when the doubts are loud. It is the refusal to quit, the decision to endure, and the determination to keep knocking until the door opens. Wealth does not yield to the impatient, it tests you, it hides behind obstacles, delay, rejection, and failure. It demands that you prove how badly you want it. Most people give up too soon, not because they lack ability, but because they lack endurance. Persistence is not glamorous. It looks like failing and trying again. It looks like showing up when you'd rather disappear. It looks like walking a path with no guarantees except the promise that you will not quit. That is power. That is wealth, building character. Those who persist outlast those who only perform when it's easy. And in that extra myelin, that unseen effort, wealth is waiting. Life does not reward those who start the race. It rewards those who finish it. But even discipline and persistence are not enough without a definite purpose. Purpose is the compass. It is the why behind the what. Without purpose, action becomes busy work and progress becomes noise. Purpose gives direction, it narrows your focus, and it ensures that every step you take is aligned with your ultimate goal. The person with definite purpose does not chase distractions or trends. They are not swayed by opinion or discouraged by difficulty. Their purpose is so clear that it becomes their anchor in storms and their engine in calm. A definite purpose brings clarity. When you know what you are working toward, decisions become easier. You know what to say yes to, and more importantly, what to say no to. You stop entertaining detours disguised as opportunities. You stop wasting time on pursuits that do not serve your mission. Every great wealth builder in history began with a clear and burning purpose. It was not vague, it was not borrowed. It was specific, personal, and urgent. That kind of purpose sets fire to the soul and aligns your mind, body, and spirit in one singular direction. With a definite purpose, you stop drifting. Drifting is the silent killer of potential. It is the passive acceptance of mediocrity. But the man or woman of purpose is awake, deliberate, and unshakable. They understand that to build wealth, they must build themselves. They must develop character, resilience, and integrity. Purpose does not remove hardship, but it makes hardship meaningful. It gives suffering a context. When you know why you are enduring, you can endure anything. Discipline sustains your habits, persistence sustains your energy, purpose sustains your soul. Together, these three form the foundation of lasting wealth. Without them, any success will be shallow and short-lived. But with them, even the most ordinary person can achieve extraordinary results. It is not about where you begin. It is about how relentlessly you pursue what you are made to do. True wealth creation is never accidental. It is the result of conscious effort, of deliberate living, of waking up each day with a mission and moving forward no matter what. It is the result of saying, I will do what is required, and not just when it's convenient, but especially when it's uncomfortable. That mindset separates those who wish from those who achieve. The disciplined make the call, write the plan, do the work. The persistent keep going when nothing seems to be working. The purposeful refuse to be moved by failure. This is not to say the road is easy. There will be moments when you question everything, when you wonder if the work is worth it, when your efforts go unnoticed and your sacrifices feel invisible. But wealth respects those who do not break, those who bend and stretch but never surrender their vision, those who understand that temporary struggle is the price for permanent gain. To build wealth, you must become someone worthy of wealth. That transformation happens in the fire of discipline. It happens in the silence of persistence. It happens in the solitude of purpose. No one will hand it to you. No one will build it for you. You must decide. You must take responsibility. You must look at your life and say, "This is mine to shape." The world will offer you distractions. It will tempt you with shortcuts. It will test your resolve with setbacks. But every challenge is an opportunity to deepen your discipline, to strengthen your persistence, and to refine your purpose. The greater the challenge, the greater the reward for those who refuse to quit. Some people spend their lives reacting, driven by impulse, distracted by noise, caught in the tide of other people's opinions. But wealth is never reactive. It is proactive. It is built by those who live on purpose, with purpose. It is built by those who design their lives with intention, who do the work whether or not anyone is watching, who persist long after others have given up. You must be willing to do what others won't, so you can have what others don't. You must be willing to be misunderstood, to be overlooked, to be underestimated while you build in silence, because wealth is not just the money you make, it is the character you build along the way. It is the discipline that keeps you grounded, the persistence that keeps you climbing, and the purpose that keeps you focused. In the end, wealth is not a destination, it is a byproduct. It is what happens when discipline becomes your habit, persistence becomes your nature, and purpose becomes your identity. When these three are united, no obstacle can stop you, no failure can break you, no delay can deter you. You become inevitable, you become unstoppable. You become the kind of person to whom wealth is drawn, not just for what you do, but for who you have become. Real wealth is measured not just in money, but in freedom, peace of mind, and the ability to live life on your terms. Money is only one expression of wealth. It is tangible, countable, and visible. But behind it lies something far more powerful, the freedom to choose your path, the peace to rest without fear, and the strength to direct your life without compromise. These are the qualities that define real wealth. A man with millions in the bank but no time, no health, and no joy is not wealthy. He is simply a custodian of currency. But the man who has full command of his time, alignment in his spirit, and the power to live truthfully is a man of immense fortune. To live life on your terms is the highest form of wealth. It is to wake up when you choose to pursue the work that sets your soul on fire and to say yes or no without fear of consequence. It is to operate from a place of power rather than survival. Too many are trapped not by lack of money, but by lack of freedom. They have income but no ownership of their time. They have titles but no peace. They have influence but no joy. This is not wealth. It is a golden cage. True wealth liberates. It expands you. It opens doors and removes shackles. It allows you to invest in your health, in your relationships, in your personal evolution. When you are truly wealthy, you are not trading your life away in exchange for a paycheck. You are building your life around your values, your passions, and your principles. You are no longer living by default. You are living by design, and to reach that point, you must redefine what wealth means to you. Society will tell you it's the car, the house, the accolades, but many who have all those things are still bankrupt in spirit. Real wealth is invisible to the untrained eye. It is felt more than flaunted. It is the calm in your heart when you know you're walking your true path. It is the confidence to turn down a toxic opportunity because your worth is not tied to external approval. It is the discipline to protect your peace, even if the world calls it laziness. It is the power to say, "This is who I am, and this is how I choose to live." There is no wealth without peace of mind. You can have the finest clothes and still be miserable. You can take the first-class flight and still carry the weight of anxiety and fear. Peace is the ultimate luxury. It cannot be bought. It must be cultivated. It comes from alignment. It comes from integrity. It comes from knowing that your life is built on solid ground, not on deception or performance. The person who chases money at the expense of peace has traded something priceless for something temporary. But the person who seeks peace first will find that money becomes a tool, not a tyrant, and that is the difference. Real wealth is not about being controlled by money, it is about controlling it. It is about having the wisdom to use money as a servant, not a master. The moment money begins to dictate your values, your behavior, your choices, you have lost your freedom, no matter how much you earn. The truly wealthy understand that money is a tool for expressing who they are, not a substitute for who they are. It is a means, not the meaning. To live on your terms, you must first know what those terms are. That requires deep self-reflection. What do you value most? What kind of life brings you joy? What does success look like for you? Not for your peers, not for your parents, not for the public, but for you. When you are clear on that, you stop chasing shadows. You stop living for approval. You stop climbing ladders that lead to destinations you never wanted. Clarity is wealth. It frees you from confusion and comparison. It helps you build a life that is rich in meaning, not just in measurement. Freedom also means the power to walk away from environments that no longer serve you, from relationships that drain you, from jobs that diminish you. The man who cannot say no is not free, but the man who has cultivated options, who has built value within himself, who has mastered the art of self-reliance. He holds the keys to his own kingdom. He is not dependent, he is not reactive, he moves from power, not pressure. This kind of wealth takes time to build. It is not given, it is grown, and it begins with mindset. You must begin to see yourself as someone worthy of freedom, of peace, of choice. You must reject the lie that struggle is noble, that burnout is honorable, that sacrifice is the only path to success. You must believe that you can be both wealthy and well. You must believe that your inner world matters just as much as your bank balance. For what good is financial success if your health is failing, your relationships are crumbling, and your mind is never at rest? Balance is wealth. Presence is wealth. Energy is wealth. The ability to be fully alive in the moment, unburdened by regret or fear, is the richest feeling in the world. It allows you to enjoy what you've built, to appreciate what you have, to pour into others from a full cup. The pursuit of money without the pursuit of well-being is a hollow victory. But when you pursue both, when you make decisions that serve both your finances and your fulfillment, you begin to experience a kind of wealth that cannot be measured in numbers alone. And yet, let it be known, money is still important. It is the vehicle through which many of these freedoms are expressed. It allows you to buy back your time, to delegate what drains you, to create opportunities for those you love, to explore the world, to give generously, to build without limit. But when money becomes the only goal, it loses its power to fulfill. Real wealth is when money serves a mission, when it enhances your life rather than defines your life. To build this kind of wealth, you must adopt a long-term vision. You must delay gratification. You must choose the meaningful over the momentary. This is not always easy in a world of instant pleasure and constant distraction, but the rewards are profound. When you build slowly, you build securely. When you invest in assets, yourself, your health, your knowledge, your relationships, you are building a foundation that cannot be shaken. The greatest mistake is to believe that wealth is something out there, something to chase. In truth, it begins within. It is a state of being before it is a state of having. You must think, act, and believe like a wealthy person long before your bank account reflects it, because the external is always a reflection of the internal. If you build your identity around lack, you will sabotage abundance. But if you build your identity around worth, value, and vision, you will attract the very things that align with that identity. And remember, real wealth leaves a legacy. It is not just what you accumulate, but what you contribute. It is how you lift others, how you inspire, how you build something that lives beyond you. The man who lives on his terms creates ripples that impact generations. He teaches not just with his words, but with his choices. He proves that it is possible to live with intention, to prosper with integrity, to succeed without selling your soul. This is what real wealth looks like. It is spacious, it is soulful, it is self-directed, it allows you to live in truth, to give without fear, to grow without limitation. It is not confined to bank statements or business cards. It is expressed in your energy, your joy, your clarity. It is the ability to live as the fullest version of yourself, unhindered by fear, unshaken by pressure, untouched by the need to pretend. To pursue real wealth is to pursue wholeness. It is to say, I will not trade my life for a number. I will not sacrifice my spirit for applause. I will not shrink for approval or grind myself into the ground for gain. It is to declare that your peace, your time, your values, and your truth are not negotiable. It is to choose purpose over pressure, depth over display, meaning over metrics. In the end, real wealth is not about what you possess, but about who you become. It is about how you live, how you love, and how deeply aligned you are with the life you know you were meant to lead. When you own your time, when you protect your peace, when you live with full autonomy, you are truly, unmistakably where wealth flows to those who think in terms of value, not just income. The mind that is fixated on income alone is bound by limitation, because income is a consequence, not a cause. It is the symptom of value created and exchanged in the marketplace. Those who chase income without understanding the origin of that income find themselves trapped in a cycle of effort without growth, busyness without significance. True wealth begins with a shift in consciousness, from earning to creating, from consuming to contributing, from getting to giving. When you become a person who thinks in terms of value, the world opens its doors to you, for value is the currency that never goes out of style. Income is linear, it comes and goes, it is often tied to time, tasks, and titles, but value is expansive, it transcends job roles, industries, and borders. Value is the solution to problems, it is the fulfillment of needs. It is the answer to questions that people are willing to pay for. Those who study wealth, who live in wealth, and who grow wealth understand this one truth. Money moves toward value. It does not move toward noise, distraction, or mere effort. It flows like water toward the lowest pressure point, toward those who relieve burdens, ease pain, deliver clarity, and elevate lives. To think in terms of value is to ask different questions, not how much can I make, but how much can I give, not how fast can I get rich, but how deeply can I solve this problem. The value-minded individual is not obsessed with transactions. They are devoted to transformation. They look for ways to serve, ways to improve, ways to make people's lives better. Whether through a product, a service, a skill, or even a word, they are in the business of exchange, of delivering something meaningful that leaves people better than they were. Income comes from labor. Wealth comes from leverage, and leverage is built on value. When you create something of value, a system, a message, a method, a product, you now have something that can serve others without your constant presence. This is where freedom begins. This is where compounding begins. Those who merely work for income are trading their time for money. But those who work to create value are building something that can scale, something that can grow without their physical effort attached to every unit. To build wealth, you must train your mind to see value where others see none. You must develop the ability to look at a chaotic marketplace and identify the need behind the noise. What frustrates people? What do they complain about? What would make their lives easier, simpler, more joyful? These questions lead you to opportunity, and opportunity, when met with skill and execution, becomes wealth, but only if you are willing to shift from a reactive mindset to a creative one. From scarcity to abundance, from survival to contribution, value is not confined to the rich or the educated. Anyone at any level in any field can create value. It does not require permission. It requires observation, imagination, and the courage to act. You can create value with your words, your ideas, your time, your presence. You can write, speak, design, build, teach, lead, listen, organize, encourage. Every single one of those actions can be packaged as value when done with excellence and intention. The world rewards those who commit to mastery because mastery always produces value, but value must be communicated. It must be presented. The most valuable product, if hidden, serves no one. So those who build wealth not only create value, but they also market value. They learn the language of their audience. They understand how to tell a story that connects. They understand that value unseen is value unappreciated. This is why the wealthy are not just creators. They are communicators. They do not wait for permission to be recognized. They assert their value boldly because they know what they offer is a solution, a benefit, a blessing. This mindset shift changes everything. It changes how you view work. No longer are you simply completing tasks. You are delivering outcomes. You are creating experiences. You are elevating standards. It changes how you view time. Every hour becomes an investment. Every conversation becomes an opportunity. Every challenge becomes a chance to innovate. When you think in terms of value, you are no longer concerned with just making ends meet. You are focused on making a difference. This is not to say income is unimportant. Income matters, but income is the fruit, not the root. If you want to grow a tree that bears lasting fruit, you must tend to the root, which is value, and the deeper your roots, the taller you can grow. The stronger your foundation, the more wealth you can sustain. This is why those who think in terms of value are never truly broke. They understand that their greatest asset is not in their wallet. It is in their mind, their skills, their relationships, their reputation, and their willingness to solve problems others ignore. Wealth, therefore, is a mirror. It reflects your impact. It reveals how well you've identified and served the needs of others. The market is not personal. It is responsive. It pays attention to those who pay attention to it. If you are not receiving the income you desire, ask not, why is the world unfair? But where can I increase my value? When you focus on what you can give rather than what you can get, you put yourself in the flow of abundance. Thinking in terms of value also transforms how you view yourself. You begin to see your own potential not as fixed, but as scalable. You realize that your worth is not based on what others assign to you, but on what you choose to build within you. You stop waiting for someone to hire you, promote you, or validate you, and you start building systems, brands, and movements around the value you provide. You become self-directed, not externally dependent. This is the essence of power. When you truly embrace this way of thinking, your actions shift. You no longer waste time on petty distractions. You invest your energy into growth. You read more. You listen more. You reflect more. You ask better questions. You seek feedback. You refine your craft. Because you understand that every inch you move toward mastery is an inch you move toward wealth. You no longer measure success by applause. You measure it by alignment. Are you giving your best? Are you solving real problems? Are you creating impact? If so, income will follow, and in time, something remarkable happens. You become known not just for what you do, but for how you do it. People associate your name with excellence. They trust your judgment. They seek your insight. They refer your work, and that reputation becomes an asset. It compounds, it multiplies. This is the secret of the wealthy. They have become magnets for opportunity because they have made themselves valuable beyond the ordinary. So consider this. How are you currently thinking? Are you thinking in terms of tasks or transformation? Are you thinking in terms of time or value? Are you focused on surviving, or are you focused on serving? The answers to these questions will determine the level of wealth you are able to attract and sustain. Because wealth flows not to those who hustle endlessly, but to those who align deeply, with purpose, with value, with vision. Value is not something you stumble into. It is something you cultivate. It is grown in silence, in the unseen hours, in the commitment to do the hard thing well. It is built in the way you show up when no one is watching. It is developed through failures, mistakes, feedback, resilience, and once you become a person of value, you never go out of demand. You are no longer replaceable. You are no longer one of many. You are one of one. This is the difference between those who stay stuck and those who rise. The stuck think in terms of income. The rising think in terms of value. One asks, how much will I make this week? The other asks, what can I build this year that will serve for the next decade? One focuses on today's paycheck. The other focuses on tomorrow's potential. One settles, the other scales. Wealth is not an accident. It is a result of thinking, acting, and living in alignment with the principles of value creation. It does not respond to desperation. It responds to contribution. It moves toward those who have trained their minds to give more than they take, to create more than they consume, to serve more than they sell. The most powerful thing you can do, starting today, is to commit to becoming a person of value. Not in theory, but in action. Learn something new, improve something old, solve a problem for someone, say yes to growth, say no to excuses, build something that matters, and when you do, income will chase you. Opportunity will find you, and wealth, real, lasting, liberating wealth will become not just a dream, but your daily reality.